I have been seeing a lot of funny skits comparing the lot of Nigerians under former President Buhari and President Tinubu. Some of them even suggested that President Buhari warned Nigerians that we will miss him when we started suffering under President Tinubu. I don't know how to say this in a nice way other than there is fire on the mountain. Petrol is at an all-time high. The naira fell to its lowest since the nation was created. Inflation is at 22.7%. As if this isn't bad enough, the federal government has increased the fees of unity schools by over 100%, while some universities and private schools have followed suit. This is a clear case of Wahala comes to town. Or as the Americans will say, when it rains, it pours. It sure is pouring all over Nigeria right now. Things are so tough that I sometimes laugh at myself. For the naira to crash so spectacularly against the dollar in an import-dependent economy is mind-boggling. What I find sad is seeing how perplexed and destabilized most people are. Many believe that the worst Nigerians could ever experience in a lifetime was life under President Buhari. But boy, oh boy, it be like say another Pharaoh don't arrive. And it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried. And their cry came up unto God by reason of the bondage. And it came to pass that Pharaoh Buhari's tenure ended, and the people of Nigeria did not cry to God, even though they were overburdened by reason of their bondage. This is a message I have preached time and time again. I have long warned that as long as we don't cry out to God, we'll continue to experience bad pharaohs. Anyone who thinks that it's about President Tinubu is sorely mistaken. A President Obi or President maybe will have had to make tough calls too. There's hardship all over the world. As things get harder, the more we turn to worldly comforts, such as social media, money, booze, drugs, the opposite sex, anything and everything but God. Think carefully about this. Why is it that our world is in chaos and yet more people are living the faith? People are suffering all over the world and yet the people are drawing further and further away from God. Why? Sodom and Gomorrah has got nothing on our world. In fact, Sodom was child's play compared to what we are seeing in our world today. No matter the seasons that come our way, we are bent on defying God. Economy fails, we don't cry to God. HIV ravages the world, we don't run to God. Ebola comes, we still run from God. Earthquakes, tsunamis and floods hit us, but yet we still run from God. COVID comes, we don't need God. The world is getting hotter, still there's no need for God. This is what happened to the children of Israel in Egypt. A Pharaoh that didn't know Joseph came and enslaved them, and they became comfortable in their bondage. Whatever Pharaoh threw at them, some seemed to be doing okay. So others felt, my turn will soon come. And so they endured. They endured and endured. Nigerians endured and endured. Turn by turn, my turn to shine is coming soon. What God cannot do does not exist. My morning cometh, every man to himself and God for us all. To your tents, O Israel. We have become accustomed to seasons of selfishness, wickedness, callousness, and evil. It's now the new normal. Son kills mother for money rituals, big deal. Mother sells child for 200,000 naira, nothing new. 34 killed in Jos, now what for them? 96 killed by bandits in Kaduna, now them sabi. 14 killed as Russia shells Ukraine. Who is Ukraine? What is wrong with us? Can't we all see that we are becoming too comfortable with the evil in our world? A world that no longer recognizes sexes, a world of absurdities. We keep on operating in selfishness and praying for our turn to make it. Who prays for the people? Who prays for our world? Stop complaining about Pharaoh. Stop complaining about Tinubu. Pharaoh is a season like any other season. What is the reason for this season? That's what is important. This is what the Israelites needed to learn. They endured decades of slavery while they operated in selfishness. A capitalist world continues to defy God and believe in me, myself, and I. What has to happen to make you turn to God? What has to happen before we turn to God? COVID didn't do it. Buhari didn't do it. Trump didn't do it. Earthquake didn't do it. Cancer didn't do it. What has to happen before we turn to God? And it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried, and they cried, and they cried, and their cry came up unto God by reason of the bondage. They as a people cried, Pharaoh go, Pharaoh come. And the children of Israel had finally had enough. Their backs had been broken. They could no longer endure one more day in captivity. They could no longer pay huge taxes. They could no longer go to bed hungry. So as a people, they cried. They cried and cried until they could cry no more. Both rich and poor, strong and weak, they all cried unto God, because Pharaoh had finally made them realize they were one people. Pharaoh made them realize they were the children of God. Pharaoh made them realize they were the children of promise. What are you waiting for? What do you want to happen? President Tinubu's season of taxes, inflation, and hardship is here. Rich and poor are feeling the heat. Is this heat enough for us to remember that we are one people, one nation under God? Are our current problems enough to make us know that the arm of flesh will fail us? Have we reached the tipping point? What has to happen before we cry to God as a people? What has to happen to you before you remember that there is a God? Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Are you in agony? Are you enslaved? Are you heavy laden? Are you burdened? Are you sick? Are you hungry? Are you at the end of your rope? Is this your last bus stop? God says, this is the time to come unto Him. Why unto God? Don't continue to suffer in slavery when all you have to do is turn to God. Nigeria, what are you waiting for? How long will you continue to endure? How long will your children continue to suffer? God said of the Israelites, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray, and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. This still applies to all those who are called by His name. I am called by His name. God bless you all.